How's it? Welcome to Same Old Arsenal USA. Kind of channeled my inner Arsenal luchador there for a minute. I kind of heard his voice as I said that. That was a little weird. Obviously without the accent. So first things first, let's get the obscene profit timeout out of the way with. And we actually don't have the timeout. You got to sit here and listen to me talk about it. Sponsor of the show, and you can find a link in the description below, is the West Cork Beard Company. They are out of West Cork, Ireland. You can shop online with those guys. It's westcorkbeardcompany.ie or westcorkbeard.ie. Or just search in your internet search engine, West Cork Beard Company. They make great beard oil, great beard balm for guys like myself and Arse Brose Ryan down there below me. So again, please show them a little love. Give them a look-see if you've got a shaggy mane going on like I do here. It's West Cork Beard Company, and they're out of Ireland. westcorkbeard.ie, I think, is the web address for them. So, gentlemen, Rowan, I'll start with you. We'll go clockwise around the horn here. How are you tonight, my friend?
I'm good. Could have been much better if the weekend went better. But yeah, I've had some time to reflect, lots of things to say. So thank you for having me here.
Yeah, always a pleasure, man. Always a pleasure. Stanley?
Hello, mate. Everyone. I'm really good. And I'm looking forward to tonight's one. Really looking forward to it.
I think we're going to get into some good footy talk here. I think we've all got some differing opinions on the events of the weekend. And as the saying goes, opinions are all like assholes. Everybody's got one. The only one that doesn't stink is mine. Kidding. I have no idea if it smells or not because I'm too fat to get back there to smell it. And if I wasn't too fat to get back there to smell it, I wouldn't try anyway. I digress. Ryan, what do you got for me? You got to follow. You have to follow that up.
Yeah, so Stan's excited. Me, I'm a little more reserved. I don't know how to feel. Well, I'll tell you how I feel. I feel I can't say it's incognito, like incognito, but like the hop is
incognito to substitute the cog with hop.
Berkshire Brewing Company. So cheers to that. That's how I feel. I feel like an Arsenal fan. I just want to hide my face. I don't want to talk about anything. I don't want to talk about being an Arsenal fan because I feel miserable. But no, this podcast is gonna cheer me up. I'm sure I'm gonna get crazy. I'm gonna ramble like always.
We need a beer sponsor. You do this all the time. We need a beer sponsor. We need a beer sponsor at the very least. Anybody watching this, if you own or know of anyone that owns a brewery and you guys want to sponsor the show right now, no charge. We'll talk about you on the air. The only thing we need is beer. You send us beer. We will drink the beer on the air. We will talk about it. We will give you some love. If you own a brewery, you know someone that owns a brewery, let's go. Let's get involved. We need a beer sponsor.
Yeah.
So everybody in the chat box, everybody's getting involved right out of the gate here. Sam, Zoe, to answer your question, Lonnie, to answer your question, will it work on your mustache? And I dare say it would because I use beard oil all up and through here. So I would say, yeah, the West Cork Beard Company beard oil would work on your mustache. Flo Zanelli, Darren's out to Darren, man. God bless you, brother. What time is it over there, Darren? Did you guys turn your clocks back last weekend? Sorry, you think you're only 4 hours ahead. It's only like pushing 2 a.m. instead of 3 a.m. over there. But even still, man, God bless you. Sam, Remy Mary, TD Shifts is out there. Football with Brownie. Big up, everybody. Appreciate you guys being here. So let's get into it. And if you gentlemen will humor me for a few minutes here, I'm going to, as I tweeted out earlier, potentially try to channel my inner league gunner here. I put out a poll, and it should be ending here momentarily if it hasn't already. But basically said, who is to blame for the run of form and lack of results over the past, 3 weeks now to a month, give or take? I said, was it Mikel Arteta or was it the players? And at last check, I believe it was the players leading the vote with 60% of it. But a lot of people were commenting that it's the board. And here's the thing, guys. Blaming the board, and as Stan rightly pointed out, as we were backstage in the green room prepping, getting the makeup all done and the hair and everything, as we are wont to do before every show, said that who is the board at this point? Is it Vinay? Is it Vinay sitting around with Josh Kroenke and Edu? Who is this mysterious board? It doesn't exist anymore, but I digress. The point is that they don't have what do I want to say? They don't have a role to play here other than providing the players. And I think overall they've done that. This argument of they don't spend any money, that's been debunked a million times over. We've all said that they spend money, and the proof is out there. All you have to do is look for it. We spend money. Now, spending it poorly is a different matter, but we spend money. And if you're still not happy with the board after going out and getting Thomas Partey, who was by and large everybody's target, most everybody wanted him. I will say that I still think Husam Aouar would have been the better signing, but we can get into that here in a little bit. Stop blaming the board for everything. Bottom line, you guys are smarter than this. And if you're not smarter than this, then don't talk. You got to be smarter than this.
I'm actually going to talk. Listen, your poll.
Hang on. It's not the board. It's not the board.
Oh,
they've got the players in that the managers have wanted.
Okay, but you said the board's spending money. Yes, I said I didn't want to talk about this, but I have to. It's proving my point, so I have to. The board is spending money. The board is spending money on Mesut Ozil's wages every week while he sits and rots in our reserves. But that's not what I'm let me talk. Okay, I'm not saying the board. I'm not saying the board is the majority to blame. They're not. I think I don't even know if I voted, but who cares what I voted? But I do think the board still has. Okay, sorry. The board still has a stench. The board has to blame. I get what your point you're trying to make is, but we still have these signings. We still have these players that are still in the club that are still earning way too high wages that no team is trying to buy. And whose fault is that? Not the player's fault. That's the board's fault. So for me to say the board is the majority to blame, I don't agree with that. I don't. I think we made signings. I think we did, but to completely take the board out of the equation, I think is also stupid as well. Because we are until I think I don't even know if we'll be better next year. But after next year, at the very minimum, when we get rid of certain 355,000 a week dead weight. You have to have in the back of your head, you got to blame the board just a little bit, put these players on such high wages, and it's screwing up our back room. It's screwing up how we're playing on the field, and to an extent, it's screwing up how Arteta is trying to figure his team out and put us out to battle every week.
Okay, so let's talk about this for a minute, the wages and everything, and Stan, we just so everybody knows here, we don't actually just come on and spitball here and like, oh, hey, the four of us just got together 10 minutes ago. We actually do put it a little bit of
dress rehearsals. We have,
yeah. There's a whole like ritual that we go through. If any of you guys have ever seen the movie Major League, think of Pedro Serrano. It's kind of something like that. I really hope I get a laugh out of Joe. Yeah, I love your butt, Joe Boo. But no, so Stan had brought up, and actually, Stan, I'll just turn it over to you instead of bogarting your idea here. I'll let you bring it up, players and their wages, and I guess I'll say maybe the board's role to play in that.
Well, I just think, first of all, with your opening statement, it really is reminiscent to Arsenal's tactics of late. You basically hoofed the ball over the midfield, which in this case is the Leicester game, and you've gone straight up into attack and gone straight in with what's happening behind the scenes. Do you know what I mean? We had a game against Leicester, remember? But we're going straight in. We're going straight in. But I don't see how you blame the board. The board have provided the money. And as you quite rightly say, it's how those funds have been distributed, which for me has always been a major concern. And the big example that I will use is that we spent, was it 70 or 75 million on a pair of Xhaka and Skodran Mustafi. I just will never be able to wrap my head around that one. And then the payback of that is that we're now in a situation, we now live in a world where Skodran Mustafi is turning down contract.
And that's the thing. The board is spending money, but it's not the money we want them to spend it on.
Well, all right. Hang on.
I do understand that why we tried to give him a contract, because he actually owes us. I think, you know what, when a player kind of owes you some money back, we sign him to a contract which allows us to sell him and get some money back.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? We don't give him a
quick,
contract if we want to keep him, but he's not even playing ball with that. He's like, nah, you're all right.
Let me shout out TD Shifts here real quick.
I'm off.
Let me shout out TD Shifts here on the super chat, man. Thank you very, very much for the kind donation. Arteta has come and said he wanted Aouar over Partey. Edu wanted Partey, so we got Thomas. So there you go. Love from Australia, 12:53 in the afternoon. First super chat of the day. We need to back Arteta and the process. The last statement.
When did that get released? When did Arteta say he wanted Aouar instead? Is that like official? I didn't know that.
It's not official. There are always rumors floating around out there that which I did see that Arteta wanted Aouar over Thomas Partey. That was he became the prime target in the summer. Rowan, I want to get your thoughts on what we're talking about here. Go ahead.
So which part, about Arteta or about the board? Which part?
Either way, it's
okay.
It's your ball.
So here's the thing. Now the contracts that were given out earlier is probably the old board now. I mean, we could say that because Raul is gone. Wenger had given contracts. He's gone now. Gazidis is gone. So all of those people are gone. Now Vinay is here. We've spent the money this time. It would have been great if we got the two signings that we wanted, Partey and Aouar. We've got one of them. And I have no problems with the recruitment that have been done. I would have liked some more deadwood to be shifted, but again, this is the old board that's given them such high wages that we can't get them off our wage book. So that is what it is. And I completely agree with TD Shifts that we've got to trust the process. As much as it is infuriating, and this game, we will get into the specifics of this game. This game was frustrating. It was last weekend. City was the worst City team that I have seen in maybe the last 8 years, 10 years. And we had a real chance to beat them. We blew it. This time, Leicester were the worst Leicester in the past few years. And we blew it again. So, there are deeper problems, but you can't always blame the board. It's not for the signings perspective, but I think we have some sort of a disagreement on how the club is handling a few issues, which we may come to at some point. So yeah, I mean, we're going to deal with that. But creativity is an issue, and that's why our keeps coming up.
Yeah, so I'll say this again, and don't waste the tweet up here. Partey gets the ball to Aouar. No Partey. Aouar is out on the island like the rest of the attacking players. Well, the rest of the attacking players with Thomas Partey are still out on the island because they didn't get the ball. Danny Ceballos, he may as well have been a popcorn vendor in this game against Leicester for all intents and purposes, because that dude, I don't know if that was poor positioning by Ceballos or if that's what Arteta had told him to do, was to basically stand on the touchline and just run it all day. I mean, he didn't get into the game at all until the final 5 minutes. So, but back to my point on and then I'm going to drop it because what's done is done. Houssam Aouar is not coming, at least not tomorrow anyway. And I will reiterate again, and everybody kind of lambastes me for this, but the fact is we already had a Thomas Partey, not as good as Thomas Partey. That's the caveat. But Granit Xhaka can do the job, albeit to a lesser degree, that Thomas Partey does. So you don't have the creative player, and you say no, but the fact is they can't play in the midfield together. They both do the same job. They both do, and this isn't a knock on Thomas Partey. I want to make that crystal clear. I am not at all knocking Thomas Partey. I love the fact that he's here. I love that we got one of them. So the creativity. So let's go on to the creativity side of things. And Rowan, I'm going to come right back to you on this because you kind of had that like lean in, if you will. You were about to say something. How do we fix this? How do we fix? I mean, everybody on Twitter has said there's no creativity. How do we fix it?
how do we fix it is it seems like a lack of confidence right now. It seems like a lack of rhythm. We have to remember that just a few maybe a month ago or something, we beat Liverpool in the Community Shield. Just before that, we had an amazing run in the FA Cup. We're the current FA Cup holders. Right now it seems like we're devoid of confidence, and we're just trying too many things. Now, I like the fact that he played a 4-3-3. I think this was the first time that he sort of really got to play it. So it wasn't going to click right away. We have to trust the process, but we also need to know, what our front lineup is. Right now, Lacazette, we will come to him, and how he's doing, and Pepe, what's his role? Willian had a knock, he's out, but where does Saka play? Why was Aubameyang on the right in this game? Like Aubameyang, we've had this conversation about whether Aubameyang should play left or whether he should play centrally. Some people say that he's better playing left. Some people say that he's better playing centrally. But everybody agrees that Aubameyang is not good playing on the right. But he played on the right. Why did he do that? And Lacazette just wasteful. And Stan had tweeted, and I completely agree that is he better than Giroud? Right now what we seem to play is we're like just trying to hook balls into the box and trying to head it in, which has never been Arsenal. And if this was the strategy, Olivier Giroud would probably be better than Lacazette. Lacazette just seems heavy right now. He doesn't seem like he's got 3 goals in his first 3 games. I do understand that, and I don't know, maybe he needs a run in, he'd been taken out, but for whatever reason, he's just not clicking. And the fact that we didn't get the first goal in the 3rd minute, which I think should have stood. Xhaka wasn't impeding the vision. Nobody protested. Kasper Schmeichel seemed to just throw the ball away like we've conceded. And if you look at the alternate angle, as soon as the kick was taken, Schmeichel was in front of Xhaka. So there was no he wasn't being, hindered in any way. So, that could have changed the game. That would have given confidence to Lacazette. That could have, driven them out, which didn't happen. So there's a lot of things that are going in the mix. But, the main thing is confidence, knowing your role, and, sort of sticking to that. Aubameyang can't play right. He has to play left or center. And then we have to sort of build the attack around him, and just build confidence bit by bit.
So real quick, Stan, I'm going to come to you next on this, but I want to go rapid fire, 1-word answer around the horn. Ryan, I'm going to start with you, then Stan, then Rohan. Answer to the poll, and I'll say in terms of blame, we're casting the majority of the blame because I think blame lies everywhere.
Yeah.
But majority of the blame goes to Arteta or the players. 1-word answer, Ryan. Go.
Shit. I don't like saying this, but because I felt one way about it 2 days ago, and I'm sorry you said one word, but right now
I was just going to say so much
for
the 1-word answer.
Yeah, sorry, but I after the game I was going to say the players for sure, but after kind of processing it and kind of watching certain things over again, kind of analyzing what players do, I think it's Arteta. I hate to say it, I think Arteta is not getting the best out of our best players. And he's more worried about the function of the actual machine than the actual parts of said machine that are better than everybody else, like the Aubameyangs, like the Sakas, like Gabriel, Partey, and all that. Yeah.
It's real. Like I don't know if you guys are looking at the comments, but it's 50-50 and the kite's going. Arteta, players, Arteta, players, Arteta, players. Stan. I'll give you more than 1 word since Ryan decided to.
I think we should talk about this. It's interesting.
I'm good with the
We
rule.
will.
I'm good with
We
the
will.
rule. Arteta.
Rohan,
The players.
there you go.
Okay, so we can
I-
also explain ourselves, right? Like Stan, you want to go for it?
No, that's it. That's the show tonight,
Thank you.
everybody. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks. Let's we'll come back to the creativity. We're going to be all over the place tonight, boys. We'll come back to the creativity thing here in a minute. So, Stan, go ahead. Expound on your answer.
For some reason, going into this game, I was really confident that we were going to get all 3 points going into this game.
I was too.
I tweeted out also earlier in the week, sort of like, there is a possibility that we may be able to scrape into fourth, not because that we're so good, but right at the moment, a lot of other teams are playing so badly.
Yeah.
And the key word was I used the word capitalize in the we've got to capitalize on it, this time, like we didn't do that season when Leicester won,
Yeah.
Well, what do we actually do? We play Leicester and we play a very understrength Leicester as well. There was a lot of their main players, but not in that team. I don't even think they started the game with a proper striker, did they?
They didn't. They had two midfielders playing.
Harvey Barnes was a false 9.
So what does that tell you about the way that they think about how we're playing? If they're looking at how they want to deal with Arsenal, whatever their plan was, it didn't even include strikers for them to start off with, which is kind of strange when you think about that. But you're talking about the creativity, and if you're trying to look at what was maybe Mikel Arteta's plan for that game, all being equal, David Luiz played 47 minutes before he had to go off. And in that time, he completed 13 of 17 forward passes into the opposition's third. And he's a centre-back.
He was my man of the match until he had to go off.
Yeah, imagine this. Our most creative players
doing that job.
Our most creative players in the past 3 or 4 games have been center backs. It's either been Gabriel or it's been David Luiz.
And so when he went off, it was all over.
Yeah.
Because you've got a midfield 3, but which really at times was a midfield 1 of Thomas Partey, because you had Xhaka falling back as a centre back, and then you had Ceballos going
selling beer up in the club level
off onto the wing. And so you had a midfield of Thomas Partey. And if you asked me to describe in one word, what did I think of Thomas Partey's game? The word would just be bypassed.
Wow, I could not disagree with you more.
I thought he was kind of bypassed at times. And I don't understand why, if you're going to buy a player like Thomas Partey, what is the plan then? If that's how you're going to set up your team, what is the thinking behind that, where he's getting so little of the ball and Xhaka is getting on the ball a lot more? And it's, and by all accounts, Thomas Partey is supposed to be the better footballer.
Are you saying bypassed by his team or bypassed by Leicester?
Oh, he was bypassed by us.
Oh, okay, I thought you meant by Leicester. I'm like, I don't know. I agree with you. Okay, yeah, I agree with that. Yeah,
it was almost like he was playing sometimes as a midfielder in the middle, but the ball was just being worked up the flanks, mainly the left. So he wasn't getting a look in. So I'm trying to understand then, if you buy this player and you're setting up your midfield, what is the thinking behind that? Also, as well, right? The situation now with Aubameyang, it's really becoming sort of like too loud now, because we've got a player in Lacazette that looks like he's running through treacle. He looks like he's got one of them deep sea diver outfits on the big boots, And there's a part of me that's like, okay, he's having this job of having to come back and running around their defensive midfielders, and I'm like, what is this? What is this all about? Is this what Mikel Arteta's plan is for a striker? Do you see what I'm getting at? Because then, if we're saying that we're going to move Aubameyang into the middle, what job is he going to do? Is he going to be at the head of the tip, or is he expected to do that same job? Don't get me wrong, Lacazette is still missing chances when he's nearer to goal. And that's another conversation. And that's why I said, he was supposed to be an improvement on Giroud, which is why we got rid of Giroud. We all liked him, but we've said that if we want to get to where we want to be, we need better than him. So we spent 50 mil on Lacazette. And the stats say that he's never beaten Giroud's numbers since we've had him. He hasn't.
Yeah. He hasn't beaten him.
He hasn't done the numbers, whether it's goals or assists. He's not done that. So that's not an improvement. That's not my opinion. That's what the stats are saying, right? And I was happy for him when we signed him. But So what happens then, right? We've got Lacazette is playing out of position, which we all think is kind of out of position, but he has made a contribution from that side. So what did we go and do? So what did Mikel Arteta go and do? He goes and plays him on the right. not even through the middle. So he's out. He's being kept out of his place because of a player that is not able to score goals. Do you see what I mean? It's I don't understand what Mikel Arteta's thinking is.
Yeah,
if you said to me, what kind of a striker is a striker that Mikel Arteta will go out and buy? I'm not really sure. I could tell you that at the moment. Because if you're going to move Aubameyang into the middle, then we have to change the style of play as well. Otherwise, if he's going to be playing as a false 8, which it looks like, then it's just going to be the same result, surely.
Yeah. Ryan, go ahead and elaborate a little bit on your decision to put the majority of the blame on Mikel Arteta.
I mean, I feel bad. I kind of explained myself already. But yeah,
I'm going to give you another chance.
No, I know. So yes, essentially, Arteta is playing a system. Arteta has this. I'm a big Back to the Future guy, so he has like this flux capacitor. If anyone's seen that movie, he has a flux capacitor in his head, and it's only going to work a certain way, and he doesn't care if one piece is better than another. He wants the machine to work properly. But that's not, you can't, in football, that's not the case. Not all players play the same. Not all players are the same skill level positionally, if that makes sense. You know, we have world class.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I can say world class anymore, but we have our top players, you could say probably right now, in my opinion, are Gabriel, Aubameyang, Saka, and Partey. I think those 4 players we need to build around. I think Pepe could come into the mix. He's probably another person that I'd like to talk about later because I think he's not playing well because of the way we play. I think we don't suit Pepe, and that's why he's not playing well. Not because the price tag, he's not good enough. No, we don't suit him. If you guys ever watched him in Lille, I've watched him a few games that he has no confidence because we don't trust him. And you say, well, why should we? But again, whole other conversation. But so the way Arteta goes, he has a certain process. And at first we saw like all the inverted fullbacks coming in and midfield shoot up, the fullbacks go up, this whole thing. Oh, we see it. It's beautiful. It's a work of art. It's a free flowing tactics. No one's in certain formations. And it was great at first. And I loved it at first. But now you're running into the problem of thanks. That's my spirit animal, everybody. Mike Ertz. You can check out his podcast. I'm gonna butcher your podcast. Sorry, Mike. Not another Arsenal podcast. I think I got it. Sorry. The beer's flowing.
I have 2 things to say to you. Number 1, language. Number 2.
Sorry, Dad.
1.21 gigawatts.
Is it 3 point? Yeah.
Don't mess.
You know what's funny? I have that beer. I could go get it, but I don't have it.
It's 1.21 gigawatts.
Yeah.
Trust me, it's 1.20. I'm older than you. Just trust me on this.
Anyways, so I just think that Arteta has this way of playing, and he wants to play a certain way, and I think it hinders certain players like Aubameyang, like a Saka, like a Partey, and Coke Zero, nice. It's rough because I thought I don't really blame creativity in the Leicester game. I thought we had plenty of chances. We just couldn't put them away because it only took 1 chance for us to do anything. Ask Vardy, ask Leicester City. How many chances they have all game? 1. They've won and they put it away. So I'm trying not to curse. I was about to really go crazy, but this has nothing to do with creativity. Yeah, you could say if we would be better if we had it. Yes, I agree. If we had creativity, we would be better. If we had Messi on our team, we would be better. Yeah, but that's not the point. Point is all we got to do is finish our chances. Lacazette cannot finish his chances. Saka didn't finish his chance. Bellerin had a nice shot. He had a nice volley. Didn't finish it. So it's tough because we have creativity. Oh, that's great. But if we have nobody finishing the chances, well, who cares? I don't care if we're creating more chances. If we're not putting them back on the net, what does it matter? You know, and I think and Lacazette comes into play a lot because he got my least valuable player. I don't know whatever you want to call it. I thought he was terrible. He's not playing the position he needs to play. He's not a false 9. He's not someone that's going to go in the middle of the field, backtrack, work the ball. He's not strong enough for that. You know, and neither is Aubameyang, neither is Eddie. So I think it comes into formation. Lacazette's the kind of guy that gets the ball in the box. He makes a quick turn and he slots it home. That's how he scores his goals. And he's not doing that because he's not being put in the right position by the coach. Now, it's tough because I like what Arteta wants to do.
As well, though.
I like the way Arteta wants us to play. I just don't think we have the players to do it. But Arteta should know that by now. And that's why I'm kind of blaming Arteta more. It's like, yeah, we don't have the players. Someone like a Lacazette I blame over Mikel Arteta. But again, I don't know how he has to see this by now. Like, Eddie's not going to do this job. Lacazzette's not going to do this job. To an extent, Pepe's not going to do this job. Or Willian, which everybody wanted. He did terrible. So I think you have to blame Arteta at this point. He's got to know what tools he's bringing to the tool shop, or the tool shed.
Rohan. So, Rohan, you're the you're kind of the dissenting voice in this because you said the players. And
Right.
I want to make it clear that I'm not sure if I actually answered this, and I'm not going to go into too much detail here, but it's pretty close. But I would blame Arteta. I would put the most of the blame at the feet of Mikel Arteta. But Rohan, so you're the dissenting voice here. So the players, have at it.
Okay. So it can't be 100% one and the other one is guilt free, right? There is some part of the blame where does the majority of the blame lie?
Right,
Now
right.
the idea why I said the players is because this was the first game that we played a 4-3-3. This what were we supposed to do? You put up a comment there that we should just stop changing tactics, but everybody wanted us to play a 4 at the back. They wanted us to play a 3 in the midfield. Till now, we've been playing with 3 at the back. So he had to change that tactic. That tactic, once it's changed, it will take some time for players to get used to it. And he did the right thing by changing that tactic. It's not his fault that Xhaka gets caught under the ball. It's not his fault that Ceballos, it literally seemed like he had a concussion or something, right? Like, and the number of times he just passed it straight to the other guy, right? Like, I mean, he seemed dazed that day. He's like definitely smoked a joint or something, so seriously. So, that happened. You can't blame Arteta for it. Then we created the chance, the 3rd minute, we should have had a goal. That was from a corner. But even apart from that, I don't think, and I agree with what Ryan said, we did create some amount of chances. It was just that the last piece was not clicking. The ball just wasn't going into the net. Lacazette had another header, which he'd completely missed, which was an easier chance, actually, to score. He didn't score that. Bellerin had a good shot, actually, which got saved. There were so many times that Tierney could have pulled the ball back, or these players could have been a little quicker. That is what was required. So what really cost us the game was the players not converting that chance. There's going to be teething problems. Leicester came in with a plan to defend. They wanted to defend for 60 minutes and then get Vardy into the game. We could have killed that game before that 60 minutes. In the first half, I was pretty confident that in the second half, if we go back in the same way, we're going to kill this game off. But in the second half, we came back worse. And that just gave more confidence. But, having the goal disallowed didn't help. Our players not converting the chance. When you're on top and you don't score, that sort of takes away the confidence from you. And that's what happened, right? Like, I mean, I think that the players lack that confidence, but I don't know what else Arteta could have done. Now, Luiz was our most creative player because he's got a great passing range and Leicester was sitting back. There was no pressure on our defense. And he has that ball that he can pick out. Tierney was in loads of space on the left. Everybody did chalk that out, and he was playing that successful ball, but sometimes Tierney couldn't control it. Sometimes if he controlled it, the ball wasn't good enough. When the ball was good enough, he didn't want to convert. Arteta has nothing to do with it. And if this was the game that we played, let's say 10th game into us playing 4-3-3, I would have said that Arteta is to be blamed. But it was the first game, so I don't want to blame Arteta for that reason, because it was the first game.
Okay.
Good point.
So one other thing that I do want to point out here, and that is there's a lot of doom and gloom. There's a lot of negativity surrounding the club. And look, at the end of the day, I'm going to pose the same thing. I'm just going to pose it two different ways. We are 4 points off the top spot in the league after 6 matches. Would anybody have said that's disappointing? After 6 matches of being included in that Manchester City and Liverpool, and we're 4 points off the top spot, would anybody have been disappointed with that?
Me, no. The typical Arsenal fan, yes.
Well, I mean, disappointed. Yeah, I want to run the gamut. I want to start at the top, I want to finish at the top, and I want to see it out wire to wire. Like,
again,
realistically speaking,
this is again. I'm definitely taking a couple tweets out of proportion here, but there's Arsenal fans that are saying we're going to win the league when we sign Partey. So you got to figure, there's fans that demand excellence.
So the disappointment is not. I don't think the disappointment is about the points or about how far we are from top spot, but the disappointment is that is the last 2 games that were there for the taking. We haven't had a big scalp for a long time, right? And especially an away win. This was the time that we could have done something to City. This was the time that we could have beaten Leicester. That the opportunity that has been missed is the one that hurts.
Let me answer.
Go ahead, Stan.
Like this, Tanner. We've played 6 games. We've won 3 and we've lost 3.
Right.
Do you think that's good enough?
No.
Is that a good?
See, no. And that's the flip side to when I say we're 4 points off the top spot. Therein lies the flip side of that.
Yeah, but we're where we are in the table, not because of our own doing. We're where we are in the table because we've had a lot of help. Because a lot of
which is
have had some unpredictable results, right? Whether it be draw or should have won and so forth.
I mean, it always seems to come back to with this club, with the exception of a few games here and there throughout the course of the season and I'm not talking about just this season, but in years past, whether it be Manchester City, whether it be Liverpool, whether it be Chelsea, whether it be United, I hate to say whether it be the scum, but these clubs at one point in time or another over the last 5 years have been better than us. And so as a fan base, I think we kind of go into that thinking, okay, look, if we can nick a point here somehow, I'll take that. All of a sudden this year, and what it comes down to is by and large, we as a fan base are disappointed. We're not a bad team. We're a team that underperforms, constantly underperforming. So is it, again, it comes back to, is it the players? Is it the coach? The players we're a club that constantly underperforms. So the flip side to we're 4 points off the top is, but we're 3 wins, no draws, 3 losses, and an 11th place in the table. So as Stan said, through no doing of our own, are we actually not that bad off? It's because the rest of the league is there's just so much parity across the league right now with everybody. I mean, Liverpool are in a world of hurt because now I think Fabinho's hurt now too. So I got to tell you, the league is there to be the league is there to be taken right now. And like Rohan said, this is the worst Manchester City side that we've seen under Pep Guardiola in how long? And
as you say,
we go in and lay an egg.
The points are there to be taken, which is for me, which is why the last game, it really kind of pisses me off because we should be able to nick those 3 points at home. We should be able to.
I don't know. I kind of disagree. I have to say, right, Rohan makes an excellent point, and I think that has to be put into perspective, and that was that we were kind of tinkering with a new formation. Yeah, we're playing David Luiz in the flat back 4, and remember a lot of detractors say that, well, can he even play in that position? So that has to be taken into account. But I really hope that Mikel Arteta has come away from that game and he's looked at how, for example, Thomas Partey was bypassed. How it's the front 3 was so disjointed. And if you're not going to play Aubameyang through the middle, for whatever reason that he just seems so adverse to doing it, then why would you tinker with him from the left when that's where he's been actually producing from? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I can only go back and just surmise that it's because at the end of the day, we have got a manager who is doing this for the first time and he's learning on the job. And We knew that when we signed him. We knew that when we gave him the job. So we can't hold it against him now.
Yeah.
10 months into the job.
So is it
bumps in the road? I think.
I'm gonna capitalize on what you said to us in the group earlier today. And Ryan, I'm going to come back to you on this. Is Mikel Arteta a little bit, as Stan said earlier, too cool for school? Is he trying too hard to put his own fingerprint on this club? Is he trying too hard to outsmart his opponent, or is it simply he's experimenting a little bit and just trying to find the right balance and the right tactics and what's going to work?
I think it's both. I think I do. Unless anyone in the chat or any of you guys disagree with me, I think I made a statement and I still stand by it. I think Arsenal is the best managed club in the Premier League. I think he's the best coach, and I think he's the best coach for us. But with that being said, I think he knows that. I think he knows he's smarter than everybody else, and I think he kind of tries to use that, and he kind of tries to use it to his advantage. But in fact, it's almost to his own downfall. I think he tries to be cocky like he did against City. He tried to prove to Pep. He tried to prove a point to Pep, and it did not work. And I think with this Leicester game, I think we tried to Frankenstein it a little bit and trying to kind of try to do a few things. But going back to Rohan's point about how this is the worst Man City team we've seen, this is the worst Leicester team we've seen. Completely agree. Do not disagree with you. Question still stands though. With that being said, does that mean you think that we should have 100% gotten 3 points out of both those games? Because I don't think so. I still don't think we're a way better. Even with their 11s and what I saw, I still don't think we're miles, heads and shoulders above them as teams. I don't think we should have easily walked away with 3 points in either of those games. Maybe Leicester, but again, we were kind of Frankensteining a little bit with our squad. And I think Partey is more of a Ceballos player, not a Xhaka player. But I think all three of them don't make sense to play, let alone if you're going to pick two out of three. I think we needed someone with athleticism, someone with legs, someone like a run, someone like a dribble, someone like a Ainsley Maitland-Niles, maybe.
Somebody from Egypt, maybe.
I would have liked to see him too, but I don't think I think he kind of falls in the same boat as a Xhaka. But I think someone like a Maitland-Niles would have been really good for us to play. I think we should have picked. Again, my opinion, I think we should have played Xhaka in the hole. I kind of like how Xhaka kind of falls back into the back two and kind of makes it a pseudo back three, pushes the fullbacks up. I don't think the fullbacks need to be up all the time because we're just, again, and I think that's another thing too. We're just a very predictable team. And we're very predictable in our putting Xhaka back, setting the fullbacks up. The team already knows we're going to play the flanks. That's why when we signed Thomas Partey, we kind of gave them a little thing to question because Partey likes to get the ball in the middle of the field and dribble up. He'll drift to a side, he'll dribble to a side, he'll make longish passes. Yes, thank you, WT. Hashtag free AMN. But Partey does a lot in the midfield, and we weren't letting him do it. And then that's what I have to do with Stan. We didn't care. We played with what we knew. We played the flanks. We played the channels. We played what we know. But but this is why we signed Partey, to control the middle of the field, to give the other teams an option for them to worry about, And what kind of makes it a little redundant too is we have Partey that can move the ball in the middle of the field and dribble up. But you have Lacazette playing so far back and working to get that ball in that final third of the field, which to me doesn't make sense. Yeah. To me, having Partey should unlock Lacazette to get in the box and play where he should be playing. And maybe we could also be playing Eddie there because that's the one thing I praise Eddie about. The thing I love about Eddie, he always knows where to be. That's his nick. He just knows where to be, and you can't teach that with some of these players.
And so, can't teach that.
Yeah. So, it's so I get what Rohan's saying, and I get the point of worst Man City team, worst Leicester team, but I still don't think we should have beat. I don't think it's a guaranteed 3 points. Leicester, I was a little more confident in, but even seeing that Man City 11, I still was like, I still don't think we're gonna beat them. Just because it's the worst team doesn't mean we should totally wipe the floor with them. I said at the end of the last season, and I'm gonna say it at the beginning of the season, and I'm gonna be done rambling. I swear, I'm sorry. We are not.
First of all, he's lying. He's not.
I am lying. I actually am lying. We are not a good team. We do not have the players. We are not ready to be challenging for. We could be challenging for top four. Don't get me wrong. I don't think we have the team to get in the top 4. But what I do think, I think that enough teams are going to screw up because they normally do. You have the Fat Franks, you have the Ole Gunnar Solskjaers who are going to manage their way into losing points every week. And I think that's the way we can get into the top 4 is by other teams messing up. And I do think that we're actually going to do that.
I was thinking exactly the same thing in the insurance basket. And you know what? The insurance basket, that's one of my favorite online handles. I don't know what it quite means, but I like it. The insurance basket.
Yeah. Whoa. What's happening? Sorry,
it's my cat.
Oh, okay. It's like,
You liked his name so much.
What is all the scratching? Yeah, I kind of lost my train of thought there with all the with the cat business. So yeah, somebody get me back on track here. I totally lost what was in my head.
I just was rambling, so I can't get you back.
Stay and take over.
You was asking about being too cool for school, and I do think
right. Yes.
I do think that I is sometimes a little bit guilty of that. I mean, the whole Willian experiment and the game that he chose to do it in was definitely a too cool for school moment, as far as I'm concerned. Do you know what I mean? There's playing Eddie and Ketty on the side of a 3, little things like that. Setting up a midfield. Why have we spent all of this money on a lot of these players, and then we're going to use them in ways that don't make any sense to me? It's obvious that the team should be built around Aubameyang, Pepe, and Thomas Partey. That's where the big money's gone, right? And we've got a player in Nicolas Pepe, who, for whatever reason, is not being given any consistency, and is not being sort of like given an opportunity to say, "Go on, son, go out and show us what you can do." Go and show us what you can do.
So the I want to make a point real quick on Pepe, and I think I said this to you guys. It might have been last night that I made this comment in our group chat. The biggest problem that is going to plague Nicolas Pepe throughout his career at Arsenal is going to be the fact that he was bought for £72 million, and he's just not a 72 million. He's just not worth that. He's just not worth that. So that's not his fault that he was bought for that kind of money. That's not his fault. He's probably, I would say, a £40 million player. That's what we've seen so far. Now, if he gets a lengthy run of games and proves me wrong, hopefully proves me wrong to the degree that he's worth the 72 million that we paid for him, not the other way. But that, I think, will be his biggest thing. I think people look at the price tag, and to sort of compare but contrast, look at Mohamed El Neni. Nobody rates Mohamed El Neni because he only cost £5 million. So, well, that's okay. He had a few matches earlier in the year where I was like, he could have been man of the match.
Yeah,
but he can't be man of the match because he's only worth £5 million.
Snobbery.
That doesn't mean anything. The price tag.
That's snobbery.
What's that?
That's just snobbery, and I see a lot of that. It's snobbery.
Yeah. Wenger said it with, I believe it was Rob Holding. Because he only cost £5 million or whatever it was, he must not be any good. But here's Nicolas Pepe. We paid £72 million for him, and it's like, and he's not any good. Well, which is it?
Can I just come in here? It just seems to me that when you're hearing about what the plan is supposed to be, I thought that we'd gone through the stage of getting what I would call experienced players, your Liechtensteiners, your Bulgarians, players that were kind of older. But if you look at what we're doing now, right, we're bringing in players like Willian, and he's getting in the squad when he's fit ahead of like a Nicolas Pepe. What's happened to the trio of Willock, Ainsley Maitland-Niles, and Reece Nelson? Are they all dead?
Yeah.
What's happened to them? So it seems that if you look at how the team is actually being set up, he's trying to put in a lot of what he would consider experience. Is being sort of stuffed in there a little bit, because there's a lot of the youngsters. You could even put in Emil Smith-Rowe, who's no longer is on loan and is making the bench. but those 4 players are not getting a sniff. I'm not saying they should or they shouldn't, but I'm just trying to look at where Mikel is in his head and what do you know what I'm getting at? Where he's going with all of this.
I'll say this:
You know,
the 4
Nicola
players you just
seems to come on to give somebody a rest. He'd rather go with this player or that player and shuffle the people around in their positions to accommodate it, rather than saying, you know what, I'm going to try you in this role. You're going to be playing here for a while. Let's say you get on. Do you know what I mean? We're going to put you in here. You know, and also as well, he'll play and have a good game, and then you look to the next game, and he's not starting, and you're thinking like, are we going to try and build off of that? I mean, it cost us 72 million for fuck's sake.
He came in and he played on the left, Pepe.
Yeah.
What was that about? Like, I didn't get it. Like, Aubameyang playing on the right doesn't work, and then when Pepe came in, we still didn't switch.
Too cool for school. You've got Aubameyang playing on the right. For whatever reason, they've got to take off that guy that you've put out on the left, which is Saka. Is it the natural thing then to put Aubameyang back in the position where he's had a lot of joy and put Nicolas Pepe in his natural position? That is what I call a too cool for school moment, for sure.
All right, so I have a question for you guys. I have a question for you guys. I probably won't get the answers I want, but I don't really care. Who do you guys think is the better left forward, Aubameyang or Saka?
Saka.
Rohan?
Saka.
On the left wing.
Yeah, or left forward doesn't matter. Left forward, left wing doesn't matter. Yeah.
I mean, if Aubameyang's playing center, then
No. It's true. Just that the question is who's the better left forward, Saka or Aubameyang? Nah, it doesn't matter where anyone else is playing. Just who's the better left forward.
I think
at this moment it's going to be Aubameyang because he scores more goals. That is why. Yeah.
So
he scores more goals.
I think Saka.
I mean, have we just forgotten that he scored 4 goals in Wembley to win us the FA Cup from that left-hand side? Saka is great. I love Saka, right?
But the catch though, when he's on the left, he doesn't stay as a left winger, does he?
He doesn't do anything.
He comes in centrally a lot.
Which is why, in my opinion, he should be playing striker. Saka should be playing on the left. Pepe should be playing on the right. If you want to play Willian as the number 10, or you play, AMN and Partey and Xhaka, and somebody has to run in between the lines. The problem was nobody was running in between the lines. There was nobody picking up that pocket of space and on that half turn and seeing whom they can release. Everything was in front of them. Banks of 5 and 4, and we didn't have any idea of what we wanted to do. That is the problem. And it just like, see, we have been predictable for a while. You remember the Wenger days, right? You could tell what the 11 was going to be. You could tell that we were going to play a 4-2-3-1 formation, but we scored. Like, I mean, in his last few years, we did become a little less exciting than what we were, but we were always creative. We were still scoring goals. We were still, we had games in the season where we thrashed some teams 5-0, things like that. But now it's not happening. It's not happening. Over the last few years against Manchester City, again, another stat to be damned. In the last, they've beaten us continuously like 7 times or something like that in the Premier League. Manchester City 7 times, 8 times, 6 times, something like that. It's absurd. And the stat is something like they've scored like 20 goals against us and we've scored 2 or something like that. It's absurd. We've scored only 2. We've had like 3-0, 3-0, 3-0, 1-0. We're not scoring those goals in these games. Why are we not scoring it? Because people are not playing in the right position, because we don't have that runner in midfield. Somebody said it. We don't have that Ramsey who's going to make that run into the box. So play Saka in the middle or play AMN in the middle, whoever. It has to be dynamic. People need to make runs. That's how you will confuse the players. If you're just the same player standing in front of the defense, they're going to have joy. They can defend that. It's easy.
Is there a case to say then that I think that for a while an Arsenal team was what we were lacking was a little bit of rigidness and discipline Is there a case that perhaps Mikel has brought that in, but now we've gone too far the other way, where players now are too scared to maybe be a little bit more expressive because they've been told this is what I want you to do. But for example, now when we were playing the 2-3-5, and you had the fullbacks were coming in, and both of them were coming in. It was leaving us exposed a little bit, but that's what the instruction was, using inverted wing backs. Are we at a stage where we're so rigid that it's too rigid, and constantly the players, if they do a foot wrong, they've got Mikel barking at them now from the touchline, and there's no crowd to muffle it. You know what I mean? He is constantly directing, and we do seem a little bit more shored up at the back, but have we gone too much the other way?
Yeah, we have. Now the stats say, right? Like we are conceding less goals. We don't get humiliated, but we're not like, again, it's becoming a bit like, I don't want to compare it to Emery because that was a real dark phase, but you watch this game to sort of forget about what's happened during the week, and you just like concentrate on those 90 minutes. But right now, the way we're playing, it's so pedestrian that I want to, like, even when the game is going on, I just like find myself fiddling with the phone or doing something like that. I'm not engaged, because there's no concerted pressure, and the pressure will only come if the other team is going to put pressure on us. If there's no pressure on us, we're not going to exert any pressure, and it's just it's just all going to fall to pieces. This was the game to be to go that 3 points ahead, because there are going to be games when we play well and we sort of won't make it, and we just didn't capitalize on this one.
Can I just ask this? Well, you mentioned Emery, and I just wanted to, I put it into our group earlier. There's a stat that's going around, which is basically Emery versus Arteta. And they're looking at basically the first 26 games played. And okay, I saw a podcast today on 101, and they sort of like looked behind more than the stat itself. But if you just look at the stats as they are, so they both played 26 games with this stat. Emery 15 wins, Mikel Arteta 12. Unai Emery 5 draws, Mikel Arteta 6. Unai Emery 6 losses, Mikel Arteta 8 losses. So the win percentage for Unai Emery is 58%, and for Mikel Arteta it's 46%. Goals scored under Unai Emery, it was 53 goals. Under Mikel Arteta, 40 goals. Goals conceded under Unai Emery, that was 37 goals conceded, whilst under Mikel Arteta, it's 28 conceded. And then you've got shots. Under Unai Emery, there were 317 shots. And under Mikel Arteta, 247. And then you've got the possession, 57.6% possession to Unai Emery, 52.1% possession to Arteta. And that's only for Premier League games, not cup games or Europa League or anything like that.
Yeah. So see, I mean, I think I said this before. There's stats. There are lies. There are damned lies, and then there are statistics, right? So you will always have stats which sort of
and the one
favor
stat
someone.
Was trophy.
Emery was at the end of his reign because he had just run out of ideas. We knew that he had run out of ideas, and the team wasn't going anywhere. So that was his problem with Arteta. There can be progression. He's taken the team down from the dumps, and he's taken us forward from there. He's done really well. He's won us the FA Cup, which is a trophy which will count. It's it's going to be there in the history books. They're going to see that we have a trophy. It's shiny. A lot of teams don't know what shiny trophies are like, right? But we know what it is.
Yeah,
so we're gonna So that's great. I mean, I'm not. You don't have to like sort of single anyone or point anyone out, because not every team wins anything. There's only like 4 trophies, and only 4 teams at max could win it, and we're the ones who won it. And people can look at their balance sheets and be happy, but at the end of it, 10 years later, nobody's gonna remember what their balance sheet was. So that aside, the reason why Emery lost his job because there was no progression. Here there is progression. New team, new formation. We have to start getting our act together. That is what the worrying thing is, right? Gone are the days when we were sort of letting go of our biggest talent. Now this is a new force to be reckoned with in terms of Aubameyang, the one of the hottest prospects in the world. He signed with us. Partey, somebody who everybody would have wanted. I mean, he's rejected Chelsea and Juventus to join us. There is a project in the works, and what we have to do is trust the process, but also not shift too much on one side. I know that the emphasis was that we have to sort of control our leaky defense, which is happening, but don't lose that ethos of the fact that this is a game to have fun, and the fun is in the goals. The name of the game is goals, right?
And let me throw a little monkey wrench into the whole stats that Stan just recently read to all of us. I think Arteta has vastly improved the culture on the club, and I think he's changed our mentality a little bit. I don't want to say fully 180'd it, but he's brought better culture to the club. I think he's helped our mentality. I think we're more prepared in the 90 minutes, I should say. And we know what we want to do on the field. Is it the right stuff to do? Do we have the players to do it? That's a whole different argument. But as far as our mentality and the club culture, I think Arteta has vastly improved that. And I think that's something that definitely needs to be that definitely needs to be spoken about, that obviously you can't rate and you can't put into stats. So, but yeah, it's my little bit. Yeah, I know you guys aren't used to me speaking for so short of a time, but yeah, done.
I just want to point something out here. It is it's nice to have supporters of other clubs come in and watch the show and try to insert their 2 cents in a conversation that nobody was having. But no, I think
we're growing. I love it.
Yeah, we're growing by leaps and bounds here.
But I want to tell you, one of our celebrity guests who watches us. I know who that is. You know who that is? Sol Campbell. Sol Campbell.
You know what, Rowan? The sad thing is David Allen probably doesn't even know who Sol Campbell is.
It's okay, man. Move on. Yeah,
it's all right. But no, seriously, David Allen, appreciate you being here, man. But here's what I'm gonna say: as long as it stays cordial, there's no foul language or anything like that, you're more than welcome. Don't go out, over the top insulting anybody. We're glad you're here. Everybody, I guess, has to like somebody, and unfortunately, you really, really, really chose wrong. But it is what it is, man. So as long as you keep it clean, you're welcome here in the chat. I'm not gonna kick you out, and I'll let everybody in the chat deal with you. But thanks for being here. And on that note, I also football with Brown. He's a Cardiff City fan, so I give him a shout. And then there was a United Arena. I think I saw United Arena, and this is here. I'm going to put his thing up here real quick. Rebuilding a team is similar to driving onto a motorway, which for Americans is a highway. You have to start at a slower speed and slowly progress. That is what Arteta is doing, and fans need to be patient with him. So I don't know if you're a Man United fan, if you're a Newcastle United fan. I think it's United Arena. I don't know, but whoever you support, thanks for being here. And yeah, that's a great point. I think most Arsenal fans have been saying that since Arteta got hired. It's going to be a process. And look, fellas, at the end of the day, the bottom line here is, we've now struck a bit of a rough patch in terms of form, and we're not getting the results. I think it is a bit of Arteta sort of experimenting and sort of seeing where are things going to work? Where can I put this player here? Will it work? I really think if we had, and it's to a degree, it's a bit of a moot point, but I'm going to make it anyway. If we had that water break that we had during the restart, where you got 2 minutes or whatever it was, and you could sort of change things around a little bit, I think you'd see a lot more.
Yeah.
I think we'd be better. I think he would change things around more. The 5 substitutes, I think he would be using all 5 substitutes. And again, it's a moot point because it doesn't exist. It's not going to happen. But so Stan, you had a bunch of stuff, man. I want to give you the stage here to kind of bring some of your stuff up. I know I'm the host of the show, but I'm really just eye candy here. That's all.
I thought there were some positives as well that we can take away from the match as well. And I thought that both of our fullbacks had very good games. I thought the crossing from Tierney was really good. There's something about Kieran Tierney. He is able to move the ball up. He's never going to go 1-on-1. We all know his move. He kind of like knocks it past and then runs around, but he's got a very good crosser of the ball. But I tell you what, Gabriel, like this young guy that we bought for 27 million, whatever it was, he's 22 years old. Thank you, United Arena.
Yeah, United Arena, Ryan. That you could put 50,000 pounds up there. He's still not going to like you. He hates United, but whatever. United Arena. I got to be honest with you. We don't really like him that much either. But he does provide a certain level of entertainment. But no, seriously, man. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the donation.
I have a lot of snob United friends. I'm sorry to give you guys a bad name. Apologies, but yeah.
Stan, go ahead. Continue. Sorry, I wanted to get.
But I mean, he's 22 years old, and he kind of seems to have everything that you would want from a centre back. He's positionally very aware. Positionally, he's quite big, but he's got pace on him as well. You know, he can go up in the air. And he's also comfortable on the ball, and he's got a very good canny eye for a pass. And he's got all of that, and he's 22 years old. So I mean, 3 man of the match awards already as well, in sort of something like 4 or 5 games. Scores on his debut. I'm really liking what I'm seeing with Gabriel. And I think that this is someone that could really go all the way in that position. But then I'm also sort of like looking at this. We outlaid the same money for Saliba, and I look at what's going on there, and I just can't get my head around it. I don't understand what the thinking is. What the plan is for William Saliba. It looks like really bad mismanagement if we've somehow are pinning our hopes on getting him out on loan and not using him by registering him in some of the other competitions. But now it kind of looks like it's a bad phrase to use, but it looks like we're stuck with him.
I think his case is weird. I think there's something that we don't know. I mean, we do know about his mom passing and him. Probably he's having a tough time,
That person, But I just found out yesterday that, do you know what his nickname is in France in the media? They call him the Mbappe of the centre backs, or some shit like that. They reckon he's that good, the Mbappe of centre backs. I found out the other day, and I was like, wow, that's quite a moniker. But I have no idea what the deal is.
I hate talking about. I say hate talking about.
And hasn't his partner from the team that we bought him from, hasn't he gone to Everton?
Konsa. The guy who was playing for Leicester the other day. Fofana.
That's the one. How old is he?
He's at
19.
Leicester.
How old is he?
He's at Leicester, 19.
He started for Leicester.
So what you're saying is he's 19. He's come from the same part of the world. The situation is very similar to William Saliba, and he's already playing in the Premier League. And this guy is supposed to be the Mbappe of the centre backs, and we wanted to put him out on loan.
I don't understand that Saliba, who we wanted, like who we signed a year ago, looks like a unit, right? Like he's 6'4", and he doesn't look like a whatever, teenager when we signed him. We didn't let him play the final that they got to against PSG. They were desperate for him to play. We didn't let him play because we wanted him here. Since then, we've not played him. We've not registered him. Like, what's happening? Like, he has to be good enough. We paid a lot of money. Either we should have known and we should have sent him out on loan earlier. But I mean, this one has left me confused, because if we had an option, okay, I'm gonna ask you guys something. Okay, if let's just assume Saliba was registered for the United game, would you play Gabriel and Mustafi, or would you take a chance with Gabriel and Saliba for Manchester United away?
I'm playing Mustafi. I can't believe I'm saying this. I'm playing Mustafi. Well, I mean, it's tough. It's tough because it's what I know now. I know he's having trouble. I know he's having trouble setting in.
Why wouldn't you, if you wanted to go out alone, why wouldn't you just left him in France, grieving near his family at the club that he was, for another half a season? And as I said, I think it was last week, surely the better plan would have been was to not even discuss putting him out on loan, because we're now his second family. We're supposed to be his family, right? Send him home on a month for compassionate leave. Forget about football and ease him back in. But have him registered so that maybe in a few months' time, after he's grieved, after he's done training, a couple of under-23 games, we can start easing him in and giving him a taste. Because as you say, again, this is a lot of money that we've laid out on this guy. And if you look at his partner, and okay, when I see what Lone Star's saying, I'm not believing that he's the Mbappe of their centre backs. But the point I'm making is, if he's a young kid and he's getting kind of nicknames and being lauded, he's got to have something about him. Do you know what I'm getting at? He's got to have showed that he's got something about him, that he's catching people's eye. And at the end of the day, again, we didn't pay 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 million pounds for him. We paid 28. For a reason. So, is he as good as what the price tag is? Is he a prospect, or is this another? Are we dealing with a hangover from the Raul Senielli deals?
Yeah, we got to realize that Arteta did not sign this guy,
because
people
obviously
need to realize that
Mikel Arteta's had a look at him, right? And he did play. I've seen him play. Didn't he play in a pre-season friendly or something like that?
Yeah,
I have seen him play pre-season, and I'm no trainer or nothing like that, but he looked capable. I remember there was one where he was the one to go back to pick up whoever the other centre back was. He had a tumble and he was right there picking him up, and kind of looking very that kind of a leader stature. He wasn't sort of inhibited. He was in there. It didn't look like that was the first time that he played in England. So and I don't know.
I think this is kind of my take on the situation. I think that Mikel Arteta came in with players that were already bought, Pepe being one, Saliba being another, and I don't think he rates them. I don't think he rates them for what he wants to do. I don't get the not registering of William Saliba. There's got to be somebody that he is better than that got registered. I just don't. I don't know. Like you said, there's something there. There's something. Bottom line, there's something there that we don't know. And I think it is. I think Mikel Arteta is that, I'll say, rigid, or that set in his ways of how he wants to do things, that William Saliba is just not on his radar. He's a guy that, for whatever reason, Arteta looks at and says, "I'm not going to have any use for you here." So couldn't get him out on loan for whatever reason, which I don't understand that at all either, but couldn't get him out on loan and doesn't register him because he's not going to play him. So he says, well, look, I'm not going to play you, so why register you? So, he's got to be so far down. He is, think of it this way. He is so far down the pecking list in terms of center backs on the depth chart. There are center backs who are injured that are ahead of him on the depth chart. They can't play because of injury. They cannot play because of injury, and they still got registered. Pablo Mari,
Is he back, by the way? I was going to ask
Callum Chambers.
Marie
no.
should be. He's
Like
not back
within the next 10 days, I heard, and that was
imminent.
Oh, okay.
I heard. I think I heard 10 days, and I thought I heard that like last Friday or something.
Oh, okay.
But at any rate, bottom line, that's my maybe little bit of conspiracy theory on William Saliba. I mean, Callum Chambers is coming back from a significant knee injury. Rob Holding tore. Jesus. Woo, footy gods. Sorry.
I just think that you make a very good point, Tanner, and I think it holds credence. And I think that Mikel Arteta just has a kind of a mindset as a person that he looks at you as a player. He has an idea of what it is that he would like on the pitch. And if he doesn't fancy you, he just doesn't fancy you. Whether you want 350 bags a week or 10 bags a week. You know what I mean? It doesn't, that doesn't come into it with him. If he doesn't fancy you, you're not going to get a look in. And I think you're right, especially with a number of players. The three young lads that I mentioned, that I said, are they dead or what? He obviously doesn't really fancy any of them. Which
is absolutely crazy, because you mentioned Maitland-Niles in that list, and I wanted to make the point that because there was another, it was Reece Nelson, Maitland-Niles, Emile Smith, and Joe Willock. And I said those four players. You said those four players. I said they better get a shot. I think they better get a shot on Thursday. Those are four players that I would absolutely play on Thursday, because in my opinion, right now there is absolutely no reason, none whatsoever, to even put Aubameyang on the bench.
If you're Reece Nelson and you can't get in the team to have a game, to have a kickabout against Dundalk, then you've got to sit down and work out what you want to do with your future. For sure.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? You're like, well,
if you're Emile Smith, if you're all of those players, I think you have to think about your future.
That is the game. Emile Smith Rowe's been on loan in a league better than what Dundalk plays in. This has to be. Surely this has to be a game where he's blooded. Surely it's a game where he's blooded.
Let me ask you: are they really blooded in this game? Balogun,
I would have. Even if he's just in the match day squad and you play Eddie up front and maybe change them, surely this is a game where you show some players that you're interested. You know what I mean? A little bit of reassurance.
I don't know how long Willian's going to be out for. I haven't heard the extent of the injury. It's a bruised ankle. So I don't know the extent of the injury. I would say that if Willian is able to go, if he's able to play, I'd play him on Thursday. Only just to sort of regain a little fitness. I wouldn't play him the whole time. I would go Eddie up front. I would go Reece Nelson out on the right. I would go Joe Willock and Emile Smith Rowe in the midfield. Smith Rowe being the creator, the 10, with Willock sort of playing that Thomas Partey role, the box to box, if you will. I'm sort of not sure who I would play out on the left. But Balogun, another one. Kid wants to leave because he's not playing, but we don't know what we have in him because we won't play him. Can't blame these guys for wanting to move on. And isn't it funny? We had this, how many times in the last year have we had the conversation of at some point we've got to play the kids? And what do? We go out and we buy Willian, or we sign Willian on a free, 32 years old, without giving Reece Nelson a look, without giving Emile Smith Rowe a look. I just, like I said, I'm getting to the point where I just think Arteta just doesn't rate these guys.
If you don't put him in that game and we have a bad result, even if we have a good result, the next time that we have a bad game, we're all sitting there going, well, where's Willock? Well, where's this guy? Where's that guy? Let's see them. If they can't go against Dundalk, and like, this is a game where you'd be thinking, if you pick me, I'm going to show you why you should be picking me in the bigger games.
That's the thing.
Do you know what I'm saying?
These kids are good. These kids get a chance.
I would rather know now. Pick them against Dundalk and say that shit.
Yeah.
I got to see it with my own eyes and go, whoa, fuck me. No wonder they're not getting a look. They can't even up against Dundalk. Forget them. But let us find out.
Right.
Let's find out. Because if you don't play them and we have bad results in the future, we're going to be going, well, such and such could be doing a job. Because we haven't seen them, right? So we're thinking maybe such and such could do a job. Show us. Let's see. If he thinks they're that bad, fucking show us.
3 years ago, Reece Nelson was supposed to be the answer at right wing. Then we went out and spent $72 million on Pepe. And then we went and signed Willian on a free. So somebody somewhere doesn't rate this kid, or the coaching carousel doesn't help. But he's gone through four managers now, and just can't get a run of games. Like Ainsley Maitland-Niles, Reese said these were supposed to be the homegrown players that came up from oh my God, the youth academy. What? Oh my God, why? It's on the tip of my tongue.
Hale End?
What's that? Yes, Hale End. Thank you, the Hale End boys. Jesus. Oh my God, I almost said Elland. This Hale End boys group of Saka, Maitland-Niles, Reese Nelson, Balogun, Zach Medley's part of that. He's out on loan right now. None of them are getting a run in this team, and boy, there are certain games where we are just crying out for an injection of enthusiasm. This game on Sunday against Leicester needed an injection of enthusiasm, of somebody wanting to go to the game, grab it by the horns, and drag it.
Yeah.
These young guys, like Stan, they
maybe a Guendouzi. Sorry, I had to. I'm sorry. It was so set up perfectly.
To an extent, you're right, Ryan. To an extent.
Yeah,
I mean, I do. I really hate that you brought his name up because he's still on my. He's still on the naughty list.
We don't have a Maverick in our team, and I think that our Maverick in our team, it should be kind of, I think, Pepe. He looks like he wants to do it, but he's not being. He's not giving a lot of consistency.
I feel like the conversation sort of going this direction, and I want to go back to a comment that Ray had earlier, and I'm scrolling up the comments right now trying to find it. So bear with me here a minute. But basically, I believe that Ray said, have we paralyzed basically our attack? Have we gotten to such a point where we're now so disciplined? And I've said this before, we want the discipline at the back end. That's where you need to be disciplined, is on defense. Offensively, we want these guys to be creative and express themselves, and they're just not. It seems like maybe Arteta has said, nope, you go here, you go here, you go here, and that's it. And if we don't get you the ball, tough shit, we go again. I kind of want to get your guys' thoughts on, are we have we paralyzed ourselves in the attack? Here it is. Is this a season to gel a future team, or are the stakes so high now that our team is paralyzed with fear of losing? So it's not quite what I thought, but are they? You get the point, though. Are we?
The problem is that we're not creating enough, and I'll be very quick on this. But that last game, I think we did have a lot of chances. The chances were being created. It was the people that were supposed to finish those chances that were unable to.
Yeah. Play people in the right position. If I'm saying, if we had scored in that third minute, the game could have been a lot, very different from what it panned out to be, because they would have been forced to come out. Maybe, if he had scored that second header, if he had scored one of these chances, just moved the ball a little more quickly, it would have been good. I was a lot more angry just after the game, because I really think even now that we threw it away, this was a game for us to win. But the only reason why I'm okay to deal with it is, or the reason why the process how I'm dealing with it is by saying that this was the first game in a new formation for this whole team, and they need to know that now they need to run into space. Now they need to, sort of be dynamic up front. But what we can't forgive is the fact that we know that Aubameyang is not effective on the right. We know that Pepe on the left, is he meant to cross? What is he supposed to do? His attribute is coming in from the right and curling the ball in. Why haven't you put him there? Lacazette just looks heavy right now. I don't know if he's if it's the age that's caught up to him. He's just 29. He's younger than I am. How can it like the age catch up to him. Like he looks heavy. He looks like he's got sandbags in his pocket when he's running. He needs to like shed a few pounds, I think. Like, I mean, I'm not even sure what's happening. So people need to play in the right positions. We need to take our chances. We need to do the basics right. The defense is now going to sort out itself. Gabriel looks assured. David Luiz was all right. If we have to play Mustafi, it's fine. Now I we have to do that. So Gabriel needs to lead Mustafi and sort of, have him go in the right direction. But we must remember that we can only win games by scoring goals, and that is by having the dynamic attack. Man United have played a drab, boring 0-0 with Chelsea, and they very much play that with us as well. And knowing our team, we'll get sucked in the end, thinking that we sniffing behind a winner and just get caught in a counter attack or concede a penalty. We don't need that.
You see, I see that last comment where it says, we've gone back to our old ways of what we used to do under Emery and Wenger. But the thing is, there's a lot of players that didn't play under them. So what's that all about? I'm getting at. That's what confuses me. I wondered that
myself.
That's what confuses me. I look at it sometimes, and I'm not dissing the comment, because I look at that and I think, I've seen this before. But then I think to myself, hold on a minute, look how many different players are in the team. There's a different goalkeeper, there's a different left back, there were 2 different central defenders. Yeah? We had a different person in midfield, 2 different people in midfield. We had a different person on the right wing. Saka wasn't in the team back then, really, so that's another person. A lot of different person, but you see the same like stain on the team, a certain revert back to this kind of play. So where does that come from?
I think the utter silence from the other 3 of us. That's your answer.
No, I was going to wait for the finish because I wanted to.
This is one that I went to the pub to watch, and I said to Mike after about let's just get into the first half. I said to Mike, this is going to be one of them games I fear, where you're going to see some night put it in the back of the net, and then all of a sudden they'll score one. He said to me, yeah, and it will probably be Jamie Vardy that will come in and score it. I mean,
all right,
and
Stan,
again,
Stan, let me interrupt here, guys.
I mean,
I'm not going
to
Stan, hang on. Guys in the chat, I ain't going to sit here and tolerate being called fat from you. All right. So knock it off. Yeah. I'm sorry, but get the fuck out of here with that. So if you want to come in here and call people fat and everything else, you can go do one. I'll tell you what, if you think I'm fat, I'll give you my address. You show up and this fat ass will whoop yours. So,
and then I take it as a compliment. We're getting so much stuff in here, and that makes me feel good because that just means we're hitting a lot of buttons and we're getting famous. And people from other clubs and other walks of life are coming in here to watch us. So honestly, thank you.
You want me to leave it? You want me to leave them in?
No,
or should I kick them out?
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying we've had a lot of interesting people come into our chat tonight, and I chalked it up as us slowly becoming famous. So if TMZ wants to get a picture of my,
you know what? We've never kicked anyone out before, but we may as well kick him out. They'll have one. Just kick him out. We've never used that button before. Let's see if it works.
Yeah, right. I actually wanted to see if you'd apologize or actually have anything else to say.
Who cares?
On him.
These people are sitting in their mom's and dad's basement, and nothing else better to do than to talk crap about people they don't know. Cool. Honestly, haters are your biggest fans, and I love it. And it makes me feel.
You guys, I've talked about this guy on here before. Well, maybe with you, Ryan. I'm not sure if I've mentioned him to the other 2. There's a radio host here in Pittsburgh. His name's Mark Madden, and he's a big boy. He's a big boy. Used to be a pro wrestling commentator for WCW, and this is the kind of abuse he gets. He gets called fat all the time. So yeah, right, you're absolutely right. Hate ain't nothing but love wrapped in jealousy, baby.
Yeah,
maybe it was fat with a PH, as in like fat.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. There are
guys
some
are
ladies-
H-walled.
There's some ladies out there that would call me pretty hot and
Do
tempting.
not say that
all right?
word anymore. I'm so old. I thought fat was cool. Like, PH, yo, man. But no,
But-
maybe not.
This is a training top. All right. This is a training top, and it's very snug fitting.
I'm really mad. I was gonna engage Thomas Morgan's comment, and you had me looking at you all.
I bought this shirt with the lumps already sewn into it. All right. I'll have you know.
All right.
Anyway, Ryan.
So do me a favor. Bring up Thomas'
We've lost the
comment
plot.
because I was. Do you have
All
Thomas'
right.
comment or no?
Yeah, give me.
Because the only thing I will say is I kind of agree with it. The only part I don't agree with it, he said we were going back to Wenger and Emery's ways, and this is where I kind of disagree because I think we could have used a little bit of Wenger in this game. Because what was Wenger's game plan every game? He would tell his team, go out, express yourselves. He wasn't structured. He didn't really have a game plan. He put certain pieces out that will do the job, and then when we were losing, he would bring on forwards for left backs and put them in left back, but they would just go up and try to score goals. So the way I see it is, I think what I'm saying is, I think we kind of needed a little bit of, for like an Aubameyang, like kind of what I was saying earlier today, like an Aubameyang, like a Saka, maybe not so much Saka, but like an Aubameyang, like a Partey, go out and express yourself. We're losing. We're down 0-0. Grab the game by the horns, and let's you gotta do something outside of what's being told and outside of the structure to win this game. And to double down on that, I think it was the Lone Star Londoner that said this early on in the podcast, and he says we don't have a leader on the field. Now, I think it could be a little concerning with a new manager having someone lead the team on the field and kind of be the field general. I think that could cause him and Arteta a problem, behind closed doors. But I do think we need something like that. I think we need someone on the field that could kind of, tell guys to pull them up by their bootstraps and kind of be like, hey, listen, we got to get this game. It's 0-0. We should have scored by now. Let's do this. Aubameyang's not the guy. He's not the guy that's going to say, hey, I say this to my friends, Aubameyang's the kind of guy where you're at a party and you're like, oh my God, he's so cool. And he offers you like a joint to smoke. And you're just like, oh my God, should I do it? Like, I don't know what to do. So you do it. And then you're drunk, you're high. And your mom's like, what have you been doing all night? It's 4:00 in the morning. You're walking home. Yeah. I don't know. I don't, and you have no response because you're just like, well, the coolest guy ever asked me to smoke a joint. And I don't know where I'm going with that story, by the way.
What just happened?
But my point is Aubameyang is like almost kind of what Stan was saying. Aubameyang is the cool guy in school. He's not the guy that's going to lead this team and I'm not saying give the team structure, but just kind of like pull more out of the team because it's tough for a manager to do it. I know a manager can do it. But to have somebody on the field kind of bossing you around, telling you what to do, which is, I hate to say this, kind of what a Xhaka does. I think we need a little bit of that to this team because I think they could have definitely helped on Sunday, for sure. Don't
Rohan,
smoke,
Rohan, you want to jump in on it would take me a minute to scroll back up to Thomas's comment again, but if you want to kind of jump in on this.
So the whole point of like he said, we needed a little bit of Wenger. We needed that expressiveness, and like Ray said, the shackles have been on. I did understand earlier that Lacazette had that responsibility to drop into midfield because we were just playing 2 in midfield. Now we've got 3 in midfield. There's no reason for our forward to drop back. Our forward should be in and around the box. This is what Giroud used to do very well. He would run only the breadth of the 18-yard box and sort of stay in the final third. And that is what Lacazette needs to do now, or whoever our forward is. We need to have players in the box. You've got one forward against 2 of their center backs. They're gonna get the best of you. You have to have 2v2 situations. You've got to, have that movement so that they don't know who you're picking on. And you've got to have that occasional runner from midfield getting behind the lines who just confuses the hell out of these players. This is how we scored in that game. Was it West Ham in which El Neni came in, dragged 3 players, and then he played it to Aubameyang, went out to Bellerin, he put the cross in, and Saka scored, right? Like, how did that happen? Everything happened by the OG Egyptian king, right? Like, I mean, that's how we scored that goal, and that's what was missing. There were 0 runners from midfield. I've not seen us score from midfield, or rather, I've barely seen us score from midfield in the past 2 seasons. Since Ramsey's gone, nobody scores from our midfield. Who do you think is going to score from our midfield? Right now, you can't think of anyone. Earlier, you would have always thought that Ramsey or someone like that is going to get a goal every 2 or 3 games. He's going to get you 10, 12 Premier League goals. We've got 0 goals from midfield.
So you're and this is gonna sound stupid, but like your 10 outfield players, you ideally want a goal from all of them, right? You want them all to be capable of putting the ball in the back of the net. But to me, I'm gonna name more than 3 people, but Saka, Pepe, Willian, Aubameyang, Lacazette, Eddie, all of those guys are capable of scoring goals. I don't think we necessarily need a midfield that can score. Yeah. We just need a midfield that could. Lenny else probably do what he wants. Yeah, okay, I agree with that. Thank you, Colorado Gunner. I just think we need a midfield that can work, and that's the thing. I thought our midfield in the first half was actually phenomenal. Offensively, creatively, not so much. But we bullied James Maddison. Maddison was on the floor every 3 minutes, pleading to the referee to blow the whistle, give a card, call a foul. We put him on his ass every chance we got. Thank you, United Arena. I still hate Manchester United, but dude, you're a stud, man. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, hey man, thanks for being here every Tuesday night, 9:45 p.m. Eastern time. We really appreciate you being here, United Arena. Thank you very much. Hang on real quick, Ryan. United Arena, if you're still here, drop your Twitter handle in the comments for us real quick, so we can all make sure that we give you a follow, give you some love on the tweet machine as well. So thanks again, brother.
Yep.
Ryan, go ahead.
Like I thought our midfield did actually a really good job. Midfield gave space to David Luiz, who quarterbacked our team in the first half, and kind of was pinging passes to Tierney, pinging passes to Aubameyang. He was moving the ball around really well. Granted, I think Leicester kind of made a really big mistake in letting David Luiz do that, but again, I think our midfield did a really good job in kind of keeping the space, keeping the pressure, and like I said, I think in a normal game without Partey, and this is kind of what I don't think I said this to you, Tanner, in our group, but the reason why I prefer Partey so much is just because of the bullying. I hate bullying, obviously, but just the way he put Maddison on his butt every time, and not even just him, everyone did it. In a regular game, if we didn't have Partey, Maddison would have carved us open in the first half. He would have been dangerous. To be fair, they didn't really have a striker, so maybe not so much. But Maddison, like a Maddison or a Jack Grealish, those kind of players carve us open every time. But someone like a Partey kind of says, "Nah, you ain't doing that. Get out of here." He kind of bullies him. And seeing Maddison on his butt every 5 minutes was just, honestly, was phenomenal. And I kind of chalked it up to our midfield, even though I think Bellerin did it, Gabriel did it, David Luiz did it. But I think this midfield is slowly turning itself around. And to kind of go a little further, I prefer us kind of starting at, what's gonna start a good foundation for a house. That you start with you talk about building a house or building something. You start at the bottom, and the way you make a foundation for this team or for any football team, you got to start with the defense. You're not gonna recruit all world class strikers and forwards and then worry about the defense. You're gonna make sure the defense is nice and organized and structured and knows what they're doing and is solid. And then I think from there we can build on our offense. And to be fair, we have Aubameyang and kind of going. I'm jumping all over the place. I'm so sorry. To go back to what you said, Rohan, about how Aubameyang is a better left forward. I don't agree, and the reason you gave is because he scored. I agree. He scores goals. He can score goals from center back. He's that good. I think he can score goals from anywhere on the field. So I think Arteta kind of, in a way, knows that. So to put Aubameyang up there, Lacazette, who was scoring 3 goals in 3 games, Pepe, who has a nice shot, he could score from anywhere. Doesn't really trust him, but whatever. I don't think he's too concerned about our forwards. I think in his mind he thinks, well, Aubameyang can score from anywhere. He creates goals out of nothing, which he's done. So I think he's more worried about, securing the defense and slowly building up to that attack, which, we haven't done, and people aren't putting their chances away. And I think that comes down to Lacazette. And I do think Lacazette should probably take a seat for the next couple games, but that's, again, in my opinion.
Yeah. You are really long-winded, by the way.
It's in the blood, baby. The German blood.
Fellas, anything else we want to cover? Stan, like I said, I know you had a bit of a list. I think we've kind of hit on most of your topics. Was there anything else you guys wanted to hit on? I would like. Go ahead.
Sometimes I feel that, and not just with this manager, the previous one, the one before that, going back to Arsenal, that you can see sometimes, when a player's using a certain formation and they're playing a certain player in a certain position, that everyone can see it's not working, and the fans are all unanimously saying, just try this. Just try it. And I know that they see it. And sometimes I feel like the manager will see something and it's like they become really stubborn. And it's almost like, well, if I do that, this is just my opinion. And a lot of people probably won't agree. It just makes me think that they think, well, if I do that, I'm just bowing and agreeing to the fans. And I've thought that about a lot of the last few managers that we've had. And for me, sometimes Mikel Arteta, he almost seems to reinforce that thought with me, because it just seems like he is going to fucking do every single thing that he can before he will give Aubameyang a run of games through the middle. That just seems to be the last fucking thing. If he's got a notepad or a pad of stuff, that is right at the end. He will do everything. He'll probably play Leno through the middle before he.
It really kind of seems like it, doesn't it? He just seems absolutely hell bent on not playing him there.
To me, it just looks. Hold on. To me, it just looks stubborn. So sometimes I think, well, if everyone's kind of crying out for that, and that is an option, do it. Show us that you know better. And when it doesn't work, we can all sit back and go, well, Mikel knows best, because that's obviously not going to work,
right?
But to go there and just stick in Willian, I don't buy that. I don't buy it.
I want to give a quick shout out here to I'm going to butcher this, I know, and I'm very sorry. Is it Akash or Akash or Akash?
Akash.
Akash. Okay.
Akash Ghosh. Yeah.
You interact with me all the time on Twitter, man. Thank you very much for being here. Really appreciate it.
I think you interact with me too. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much for the kind donation, man. Really appreciate it. Good to see you here. Yep, absolutely, man. Top Gooner right there. Thanks for being with us, man. We really appreciate it. Good stuff, Ryan. Go ahead, Ron.
Agree with this comment, right? This is what happened. So they had everyone behind the ball, and then we had our forwards with them against the defenders, and then our midfield in front of their all of their players, but nobody was in between, and nobody was playing there. How are you gonna? It was disjointed. The only way we could connect our defense to attack was David Luiz playing that long ball, and that's not going to work. But the hope is that we will rectify it. The hope is that he's probably understood, and he said maybe we need athleticism, and we'll get EMN into midfield. Ryan's going to like that. Or maybe he's going to be maybe El Nani's played well and he could unlock, Partey, like I think Ray said, and that's going to be something that might work. Or he might be let me make sure that Ceballos hasn't had a bong hit before coming on, so that he can freaking pass the ball to the next guy, and that might work.
Well done.
So any of that, right?
All right, quick thing I wanted to say real quick. Okay, let me preface this by saying, based on who we have and how everyone's playing, I kind of think we should try Aubameyang through the middle. But I don't know if you guys know this. Aubameyang has never played through the middle his entire career. And even Dortmund, he didn't play in the middle. He played in a two. Sorry, I'm so sorry. I couldn't figure that out. And then when he didn't, he played on the right. He played on the left. He never played through the middle. He's never played through that. I don't know why people have this fascination of, we got to play through the middle. He's played through the middle. Blah, blah, blah. He's never played through the middle. Why start now? But again, based on everyone's form, based on everyone's playing, I think I don't think we have any other choice. I think we have to at this point. I think, and kind of going back to, I was kind of trying to tie this together with my question to you guys about who's the better left forward in Saka or Aubameyang. Because I think we need to have Saka. I originally said I want Saka as a left midfielder, but in reality, I think his creativity, his eye for goal, his runs that he makes, I think we should kind of put him at left forward and kind of have Aubameyang groom him a little bit. And I think at that point you have to play Aubameyang to the middle. And it sucks. I personally think we should play Pepe on the right, but I think Pepe, like I said, he's a confidence player. We don't really value him. How do I explain this? He's the kind of player where, you have 3 kids. He's the one of the 3 kids where you just gotta hug him and tell him you love him every night, or else he gets
like you.
or else he gets upset and he doesn't do what he does. If you tell him you hug him and you love him every day, it kind of gives him, almost in a way, it kind of gives him a purpose. Gives him that little drive. Because let's face it, some of his the free kick goal, the 2 free kick goals in the Europa League, Valencia, was it? Or I don't even know. And then yeah, perfect. And then at the end of last season, he was one of our better players. I'm not saying he's our best player. He's going to be our best player. He's going to be worth that $72 million price tag. I don't even know what $72. I can't speak. Point is,
I think I'm about to mute you.
No, stop. I'm almost done.
It's great that you're not on a podcast.
I've had one too many beers. But my point is I think Pepe needs to be called a little bit and being told, hey, we need you. You're important to this team, because he shows that bit of brilliance, and I think we need to harness that. And on top of that, if I told you, hey, we're going to bring a 32-year-old player in, he was in one of the top teams in the Premier League, and on his team, he was the most creative player, and you're going to get him for free. You're going to say, let's sign him up. The fact that he's a Chelsea reject, everyone goes, he's from Chelsea, not again, not another Petr Cech. It's different. This is different. He was Chelsea's most creative player, and we need to utilize that, and we're not utilizing that, which is kind of, I blame Arteta for that. But I think this everyone slacking Willian, I think is getting a little ridiculous. But to be fair, he hasn't played well. I just think he needs to be that creative presence that he was at Chelsea, because I do think he can do that, and I think he can do wonders for Aubameyang. He could do wonders for Saka and even a Pepe. So I think it's just a matter of finding the right combination to this puzzle to unlock it, because our defense, and I even think our midfield is getting there, into being structured, sound, and preventing the other team from scoring.
So I think that's going to be the last word. Quick. I mean, that was Jesus Christ, man.
It has to be, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Jesus. I'm going to cut you off your mic and your beer consumption.
Woo!
Anyway, no, we really do love Ryan here. He really is the child that he literally just described.
I need to be
so when this is all over and you guys don't see actually what happens when the camera goes dark, we'll all sort of, virtually hug Ryan and tell him that he's okay. So I mean this in the most literal sense of the word, of the phrase, but I want you guys, Rowan, I'm going to start with you. Go through, just give me a quick synopsis preview in your own words of the game against United. What are you looking for? I don't need a prediction or anything like that.
Defensively, we've been okay. So if we just keep doing what we've been doing, we'll be fine. Offensively, we need runners into the box, into their box. They've just had a drab 0-0. They wouldn't want to have another draw there. The onus will be on them to sort of want to come out and attack, because their home form hasn't been good. The home game previous to that, they lost to the Scum 6-1. Last game was a draw 0-0. this game they'll want to come out and sort of win at home, and we can use that to our advantage. Everybody needs to put in a performance. This is not a great side, they're an okay side. They rely on penalties. They were lucky against Chelsea to not concede that penalty. And when Maguire was all over, when he was all over Aspi, right? So similarly, we have to be prepared for that eventuality that there will be some decisions going against us, as they do, but we should have that confidence that this is a team that really isn't as good as they think they are, and this is our opportunity. I think this is an opportunity to sort of get that away win that we've been looking for against a Big Six team. So I don't know with what sense I should go in there with confidence, but because the basis and the foundation is there with defense, I trust that the next game we're only going to get better. I don't want these players playing in the Europa League. I want a whole starting 11 that's going to be new. We should have that extra advantage of playing against Manchester United, our fresh starting 11, and putting in a performance away at Old Trafford. Come on, you Gunners.
Stan.
Well, look at the last results that Man United have had at home. They've not been very good. So I just don't want this to be an opportunity where, they're going to get their bounce back against Arsenal. We should be able to go there and to, continue the fashion that's been happening with Man United. Go there and just step on them and not take our foot off. I mean, they've got a great player there. They've got one of my favourite players at the moment in Donny van der Beek. They're not even playing him.
Yeah.
Because he can't get in a team ahead of Pogba or what's his name? The other one,
Fernandes.
Yeah,
Fernandes.
That's taking up his space. I don't even know why. I don't even know why they bought him.
Fernandes.
I don't want us to. We should be able to go up there and not be that anomaly where this is the game where they get their mojo back against Arsenal. And we get a little bit of a hide and all. We have one of those games where we just Thomas Partey needs to get back into the game. Mikel Arteta needs to find a way of how to make sure that he gets on the ball more in midfield.
Yeah. Ryan, and I do mean really quick.
I'll give you the finger, but I like you too much. No, I think I just want to. The only thing I really care about. I hate Man U. I want 3 points, but the thing I really care about is I really want to see this midfield work. I want Arteta to kind of figure out what's the best midfield for us, because I think, to me, defensively we're doing really well. I think the midfield's the next key to unlock, and I think Partey 100% should be in there. I hate to say this, but I almost want to say Xhaka plays in the back. He kind of pushes back. The back two, he kind of creates a back three. Our fullbacks go up. And then our two double pivots will be probably Partey and AMN. That's what I want to see. I don't think he's going to do that, but I definitely think we need runners in midfield. We need guys to carry the ball. We need athleticism with the ball, without the ball. And I think I would also, if Willian's fit, I would like to see him maybe play a 10 or some kind of creative midfielder for us. At this point, I've said this a million times. I don't think we're a good enough team to make the Champions League. And even if we make it, I don't know how we'll do as far as getting out of the group, getting into the knockout stages. But I just want to see a cohesive unit, and I want to see players play in the right positions, and I want to pull as much as I can out of those players. So,
one last point as well. We've also got a 12th man because the referee is Mike Dean. So we've also got that to contend with as well.
Of course.
Yeah, Mike Dean's been better with us, but he loves Man U, so it is what it is.
So I'm going to get the last word in here, guys. And bottom line, I'm actually looking forward to Thursday. I want to see what happens on Thursday. What kind of a side does Arteta decide to go with? Who does he put out there? Because I think that will answer a lot of questions for Sunday. As far as Sunday is concerned, bottom line, need an effort. They're ripe for the picking. It's time to end the drought at Old Trafford and get a win finally. And hopefully this is the kind of win, if we can go in and put in a performance on Sunday, that can propel us through this next run of games into the next international break, which I think is coming up in 3 or 4 weeks now. It's somewhere in November. I know we don't get out of the month of November without another international break. Yeah, so just I want to see a bit of a different lineup on Thursday, and we definitely need a performance on Sunday at Old Trafford. So I want to thank everybody in the chat box. You guys were absolutely great tonight. Big up yourselves on that. Everybody watching on replay, thank you guys all very much. Really appreciate anybody just listening. Audio wise, you guys are great as well. Thank you all so much. You guys make the show what it is. Obviously, without you guys, we're just 4 dudes sitting around chatting Arsenal with no real goal in mind other than just getting things off our chest, which pretty much what we do here anyway. But thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Even though I'm fat, I have a great beard and a fantastic dad bod. So appreciate it, guys. Like I said, we really appreciate you being here. Check out the links in the description below. That's it for us. Come on, you Gunners.